We're coming up on the 5-year anniversary of the PS4 and the Xbox One, and we thought what better way to celebrate than by going through our top 10 favorite games we've played this generation. That also includes the Switch, but we'll get to that. This is Now Loading, a video game podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to Now Loading, a video game podcast. This is episode 3 of the podcast. It is our E3, but we're not going to be talking about E3 anymore. You're tired of it probably. We're a little tired of it. We'll wait till next year. But as always, I'm joined by my two cohorts, Kyle in Pennsylvania.
What's up? I'm a cohort. It's good.
And Casey out in California.
What's up? This is Casey, your local Los Angeles cohort.
Mm-hmm. I thought you were going to say weatherman. I would have been wondering when you got that job.
Yeah, I also am the weatherman out here.
Cool.
It's an easy job out there.
With that, today, as you may have heard in the intro, we're going to be going through our top 10 best favorite games we've played this generation. It's hard to narrow this list down, don't you think, guys?
Yeah, there's a lot of games, so it's pretty tough to get only 10. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we're in a spot in the video game industry, and we've talked about this before, that like it feels like every game that comes out is so good. It's like, how do we buy all these games? How do we not spend money on all these games, but we want to?
I think my issue is not so much buying the games, but just finding the time to play them.
Also very true. Now that we are adults, we don't have as much time to play games, but we tried.
Who's an adult?
That's a good point. None of us.
I'm looking around for an adult.
We have a video game podcast, so none of us.
Okay. Confirmed. That we're not adults.
And so what we did with these top 10 games is that we compiled them all into one list. We're not each going to have our own separate list. We thought that'd be a little too much, but we kind of all agreed on a list. We put them in a top 10 order, and there's probably going to be some disagreements from listeners out there, but who cares? This is the definitive list. This is 100% right. So let's jump right into the list with a game that we played together a lot, and this was more of an indie title, but Rocket League coming in at number 10.
Casey will take this one.
Okay.
First.
This is definitely a favorite of mine. It's one that I always jump to if I don't know what to play. It's like, well, I'm always down for a round or 10 of Rocket League, and yeah, very few games kind of sink their teeth into me as far as like games that I'll play year after year, and to this day I'm still playing Rocket League, and I was playing it during the beta before it even got out, so I'm not that good at it still, but yeah, it has yet to become not fun.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah, I agree. I love Rocket League because it's like, you know, it has all the thrills of a sports game, but it's just a ridiculous concept. Cars playing soccer, I love that from the beginning. You know, my buddy's a really big soccer fan, and he's not a really big video game guy, but we played a ton of Rocket League, just staying up like 5 nights in a row playing Rocket League. I have it on Switch and PS4. I thought it was one of the best games of this generation, just due to the just how much fun it is. You can't, like Casey said, you can't stop playing it once you start. So,
I mean, I think that's a testament to how good a game is when you're willing to buy it on 2 separate systems.
Sure.
It's a pretty good indicator. And kind of all the points that you guys said make a ton of sense. It's just a ton of fun. I mean, it's a blast for you to play together with your friends. And we kind of came onto this game because it was a free giveaway for PS Plus, which is crazy that a free game, in the sense of the word, can become that popular and can become one of the top 10 best games we've played this generation.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was a really smart move on their part to make it a free game. That's how I got it originally for PS4. But yeah, I love it that it's like the skill. You can jump into it as a casual player, or you know, you can sit there and put so many hours into it and get like super skilled at it as well. So it has those 2 ends to it.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely one of those games that's easy to learn but really hard to master. And also, I'm not really one to watch a lot of esports, but with Rocket League, I've watched a few of those matches, and they're just insane. And they're also just fun to watch because of some of the moves that these guys pull off.
Yeah, definitely very big in the esports market, definitely big on Twitch. It is. It's comes back to video games. Are they a sport or not? And I think this is one that shows that it really can be. So, number 10, Rocket League.
Whoop.
Now we're going to move to number 9, which is a very big shift from a game. This is a first-person shooter, Doom. Doom 2016, the remake. I think we all enjoyed this one a lot. Great narrative, even great multiplayer, great engine, great 60 frames per second. Looks amazing. And one of the best-looking games of this generation as well. What do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely. One of my very first games on the computer, on a Macintosh actually, was Doom 2. I played it a lot with my dad, and yeah, that game was just awesome as a kid, just because of how like gory it was and kind of like crazy. So I've always had a soft spot for the Doom franchise, and when this game came out, it looked awesome, and sure enough, when I played it, it felt awesome too. So yeah, everything was just so fluid and fun, and just sort of like had that crazy action all the time, and really kind of promoted aggressive combat with the whole like I forgot what you call it, but you press a combo of buttons to kind of activate like the finishing kill move.
Glory kill?
And that's the one, yeah.
Glory kill. I've played it more recently, so I know the terminology. Yeah,
I have a little interesting tidbit. I think this is the case. Do you guys remember getting a free game in your cereal box called like Chex Master, Chex, something like that?
I want to know where you're going with this. I kind of remember that.
I don't recall that.
I need to look up the actual title of it, but it was a Chex game that you like zapped these goo aliens with your like little zapper thing. But it was basically it was like a mod of Doom, basically. Like it was that engine, that first person shooter. So like that was my first introduction to it, and then I played Doom as a kid, and I was like, oh, this is like the Chex game that came in my cereal box. But
real quick, why are you revealing our number 1 game on the list so early?
Yeah, that is true. Maybe I have somewhere to go, and I'm just trying to end it now. So yeah, it's the Chex game.
The Chex game is not number 1 on our list.
But anyway, no, it's cool that they brought back the franchise, and it was so successfully done critically, and it was awesome that they lived up to the original and how the things it brought to the first person shooter.
Definitely. And I think you gave us a great idea for a future podcast there. Top 10 best games to come out of a cereal box. So look out for that.
Number 1 is the Chex game.
We don't know that. We got to do more research on the subject. There could be a lot of really good cereal games that we didn't buy. They could have been in a box of granola that we didn't eat when we were 10.
Right. Yeah. I got a Weekend at Bernie's DVD on top of my Domino's pizza one time. So that's another thing we can discuss sometime.
That movie came out in like the 80s. Why were they giving it away?
Well, that's why they were. It was an old movie at that point.
That's true.
But anyway,
we got
Doom
way
was
off.
cool.
But Doom is a great game. Weekend at Bernie's is a great movie.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. They're in the same universe as well.
They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing Doom a lot recently. I've been playing the campaign. I got a 4K upgrade on the Xbox One X. Like I said earlier, looks incredible. Gameplay is so fluid. Getting those glory kills is awesome. And there's a lot of like cool little RPG elements too, where you got to get upgrades for all your guns. You got to get some suit upgrades. So it combines all these things into a little perfect package to make it number 9 on our list.
Hell yeah.
What comes after 9? 8. Well, I guess before. That's weird. Anyway, this is going to be a controversial pick, maybe, but we had a lot of fun playing it. And number 8 is Destiny, the first one. Kyle, what do you think about this controversial pick that we're throwing out there?
It's a little controversial because a lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth about how they handled DLC, and just the whole game was a little bit of a mess based on the initial like expectations that they laid out for the game. But I didn't really go into it with those expectations. I wasn't following. I was still on the PS3 at that point, so this was actually it came bundled with my console. I have the white Destiny PS4, so it's kind of like when you got an NES as a kid and you got it bundled with Super Mario Brothers. Like that becomes one of your favorite games because of the fact that it's probably the first thing you're popping in when you get it. And for me, it was just amazing. Well, first of all, I was blown away by the PS4's graphics, and Destiny is still a really good-looking game 4 years later, or how much longer. But I just had so much fun. It might not have been a perfect game, but I had so much fun with friends, like just running around and just, even doing like the patrols and the raids or the night strikes. Like I just had such a blast like with friends in that game, and I would like to see that more in just games in general. I want to see the co-op be a little more, to the forefront in gaming, because that was the selling point for me on Destiny. I loved that.
Definitely. I think that's why we put this on the top 10 list, was the great moments we could create with playing with friends. And it has one of the best co-op, I guess, story modes, if you could call it that, or you can just run through and do everything in co-op, whether it be PvP, whether it be PvE, whether it be pretty much anything you could do in the game, like you said, patrols and raids. And I think it helped that it came out pretty early in the life cycle of the PS4, where people were just yearning for a game like this. And there was a lot of hype. It's from Bungie, who's obviously well known for the Halo franchise. And this was kind of their first venture into a new world since handing off Halo to 343. So much hype around the game. And honestly, a lot came to happen with a lot of expansion passes and them forcing you to pay more money to keep playing the game. But I mean, just the moments that we were able to create and the hours we put in the game, that I think there's no way we couldn't put it on the top 10 based on those factors.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, like, I don't know if I've ever had another gaming experience where it's like you and like 5 friends that you're playing with like every day. It's like you rush home from work and you're like, we got to get on Destiny, and you don't even have to tell anybody. You just sign on after work and 5 of your friends are already on. So that was what it was for me. It was awesome.
Definitely. So yeah, Destiny. That's probably gonna be our most controversial pick of this. I think
but
7.
Deal with it though. Deal with it.
I think 7 and above here are pretty solid picks. Number 7, I guess maybe this one could be interesting. Rise of the Tomb Raider. And the only reason I say this could be an interesting pick is because it did, when it first came out, it did something that gamers don't necessarily like, where it was a timed year release for Xbox One. So it was on Xbox One for a year first before it finally came to PlayStation. I played it on the Xbox. This actually was one of the games when I first bought my Xbox One, this was bundled with it. So you talk about a game being bundled with a console, makes you like that game more because it's the first thing you pop in. And yeah, this was the first game I played on Xbox One when I got it. It was Rise of the Tomb Raider. Now, I had played the Tomb Raider reboot before this one. I loved that, but this one kind of amplified it, took it to the next level, expanded the world, not necessarily open world, but definitely bigger levels, bigger set pieces, and just super enjoyable with all those RPG elements. And the story is fantastic. We see Lara get angrier, and we see the game just being a ton of fun.
Yeah, I was on the PS4 end of this game, obviously, and it was a timed thing, so I got to play it a lot later than it came out. But I had played the reboot as well, and I really loved that. I got it for like $14, on a deal or something, and that's just like an incredible deal. I saw it for $5 the other day, the reboot. I was like, that's one of the best deals out there. Like, just make it free at this point for PlayStation Plus. But yeah, I love that game, and then I went into this with really high expectations, and it was a lot more of the same, but they kind of elevated the gameplay, and badass Lara Croft, more badass than we've ever seen her. I actually like, I know this game may or may not be coming up, whatever, but the Uncharted series I would equate it to, except I actually like Tomb Raider more personally, because I do like those RPG elements, and I thought the characters in the world were a little bit more interesting for me. But yeah, I loved this game.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the reboot of Tomb Raider, and I should caveat the reason that one's not on this list is because this list is of this generation. So that Tomb Raider, while they remastered it and put it on this generation, it was originally an Xbox 360 PS3 game, so unfortunately could not be included in here. We kind of skirted around those lines a little bit with Destiny, whereas multi-platform release where it came on both. So just so you know, for the rest of the list, all these games had to be released first on this generation of consoles, and that includes Xbox One, PS4, and the Nintendo Switch. So possible spoiler alert there, what's coming along. Casey, do you have any feedback on Tomb Raider? You didn't get to play it, but I know you've seen a ton of stuff.
Yeah, it's just one of those games that I hear a ton of good stuff about all the time, but I haven't gotten around to playing it. I have it, actually. I still haven't played it.
What are you doing, man?
I know.
We're going to make you capture the footage for...
We're going to actually excuse you for the rest of the podcast. Yeah. You may go play Tomb Raider. Okay,
let me go
this is now a two-man podcast. We're going to pop up with a new intro right here and a new name.
You can just put that in.
Yeah. I mean, it looks great. I hear people say a lot of great stuff, so it is something I'm looking forward to playing.
Cool.
Absolutely.
This next one, we've all played. And I know that. So we all have something to say about this one.
You don't know that. I might have had a ghost player log on my account.
That's true. Well, I know we all own this game at least. So I guess we all own the last one, though, too. So what am I saying?
This is actually top 10 games that we own and not necessarily have played.
We could make a list of 100 probably with that if we did that. Man. But
the comments are totally based on what other people have said on the game.
What's cool about this game, though, this next one, is it's another heroine, another female lead character, Horizon Zero Dawn, coming in at number 6.
Say yes to heroin. I mean to strong heroines in video games.
Yeah, I realized when I said that. I don't know if the pronunciation's off, but we mean female leads.
Heron.
That's a bird.
Yeah. Anyway.
So. This game kind of came out of nowhere, I want to say. Like, no one expected this, 10 out of 10 game just to drop for PS4 and to be exclusive on there. It's from Guerrilla Games, which did the Killzone franchise, which was well known, but I mean, I don't think those are praised, but not nearly to the level that Horizon Zero Dawn was. And this game, when it came out, I picked it up pretty early. I mean, I don't normally pick up games super early in their life cycle all the time. But this one I looked at, I was like, oh, this is incredible. Amazing open world. Robot animals that you can control and you can kill. And there's just so much to do. We talk about RPG elements in Tomb Raider. The RPG elements are awesome, where there's a ton of different weapons, a ton of different mods you can get for those weapons. You level up a bunch of different skills. It kind of takes those Assassin's Creed type vibes where you're trying to get to a vantage point to unlock the map, but this does it with Brontosaurus type.
Yeah.
Dinosaur thingy, robot dinosaurs. I don't even know how to describe it. That's how crazy this world they built is. But they're moving around and you're trying to climb them and just to unlock the map so you can find other things to do. And this is one where I went through, I 100% and I platinumed it. I re-picked it up recently, the complete edition, just because I need to play this again. I need to play the Frozen Wilds. And really I could have put this higher on the list, but that's just a testament to how many good games came out this generation that this is only number 6 on the list. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I played it through completely as well. Got 100%. Haven't done the DLC, but yeah, to me, it just kind of checked off every box of a really good open world RPG game. Visuals are pretty stunning, especially with HDR. And yeah, overall, the gameplay, I think, is what makes the game. The weapons you get are really interesting, and the combat itself can really be creative. You can kind of take down enemies in a number of different ways, which is really cool. And everything just felt really good control-wise. And then on top of that, you have a really cool kind of sci-fi story. And the way it kind of unveils itself throughout the game is interesting, and it kind of really picks up at the very end. And I won't say anything more than that, but...
Yeah, this guy's trying to give spoilers away here.
Yeah, Snape ends up killing Dumbledore at the end.
Snape kills Dumbledore at the end of this game is kind of crazy.
I didn't watch the Harry Potter movies till recently, so that was kind of a buzzkill.
Oh, sorry.
Also, there are apparently books as well, which I found out, so...
Oh yeah. They're based on the movies, I heard.
Yeah, the books are based on the movies. I think that this is a complete shift to topic, but I love when, I think video games actually contribute to this as well. When like a movie does commercially well and it's based on a book, the book then gets like its cover art becomes like the movie cover art.
Yeah, I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
Sells more
I
copies.
actually don't like that. I would say, I would put my opinion out there that I think that's a bad. Now I think it's a good business practice, but I think it takes away from what the book originally was. But having said that, let's not talk more about it.
Yeah. Unless I make I would, but like I would read a book based on Horizon Zero Dawn about this world because it's a super, super interesting world. So I'm throwing that out there to to Guerrilla Games, who's obviously listening to this podcast, to make a book about this world in Horizon Zero Dawn. Kyle, give me your thoughts on the game.
Here's what I'll say about it. I'm not too far into it. I kind of got sidetracked by a bunch of other games that came out that I was really looking forward to, but it's something I'm definitely looking forward to revisiting. And the time I did spend with it, I thought the protagonist was super cool. She seemed really tough and awesome, and the weapons and the mod system, like you were saying, it just seemed endless. Like once you get into it, there's so many possibilities to play the way you want to play. So I'm looking forward to getting back into it. So
we promise on this list there are games that we've all completed. So
promise.
Maybe.
The next one is not one of them because there's nothing to really be completed with it. It's a multiplayer game, straight multiplayer, but probably the best one of this generation. Best FPS of this generation, probably. Number 5, Overwatch. Now, when you talk about Overwatch, you talk about a super innovative first-person shooter that did something pretty different that I've never really seen before, is that everyone has to, it wasn't initially like this, but I love the change that everyone has to be a different character, and it makes for so much strategy and so much, like, I guess when you get online with your friends where you all need to talk about like what type of character you're going to be, and really need to strategize and figure out your plan going into any single game type. And you guys picked this up before I did, and you guys put a lot more hours into it. Why do you think this is worthy of a top 5 inclusion on our list?
Yeah, I'll just say, like, it was something I had no idea. I picked this up off of I used to edit a lot of videos for Smosh Games, and they were playing like the beta of it before it came out. And I thought it looked really interesting. I'm kind of into that cartoony like art style and everything, and it kind of blew me away. Like I was kind of confused on what was going on. It just seemed like, is this like a first-person shooter? But it's a lot more than that. Once I just bought it on a whim, and man, I like played it for like 10 hours straight. I was just like, this is amazing. But like Zach said, it's like kind of like the level of strategy is so cool that, you know, and you get players that you're personally better with, which is cool because then your friends might be better with another character. So you can all like bring your talents to when you're playing matches. Yeah, no, I just I found a lot to love with Overwatch, and I still play it from time to time today, hop on for a few rounds, do my season placement matches, whatever. But I like Soldier 76. That's my guy. So anyway, awesome game, and I think it has a lot of life left in it, despite being out for a couple years now. So.
Yeah, I agree. I picked it up just based on the buzz around the game when it was, you know, at its peak popularity, and normally not something I would really be attracted to just because it's an online competitive game, and I tend to not be great at those just because I'm not playing them 20 hours a day.
Except Rocket League. He's a Rocket League god.
Yeah, I am a Rocket League god.
I am a god.
So, but the thing I like about this game is you can jump in even as a completely new beginner to the game, and you can do things that make you feel at least like you're contributing to the team, and really you are. It's really built in a really balanced way where, you know, it feels like you're making progress because of the different game types, and it even does things like it kind of counts kills for you, even if you just sort of assisted in a way, and all that stuff makes for a really fun experience rather than a frustrating one, like I think some other online competitive games.
Yeah, you touched on something there that is really cool. I love the, like, if you just contribute to a kill, you kind of get credit for it. That's something in first-person shooters I think is like the most frustrating thing in the world, where you're like, I did all the work. Why don't I I want to be awarded. I want to see on the scoreboard that I did something.
Yeah, I'll add the point, too, that we were talking about this before, that, you know, it really is about getting good at a certain character, because all the characters are, besides cosmetic changes and skins, they're all the same for each player playing. So it's balanced. It's based on your skill. It's based on how much you know the strategy of that particular player, what they're used for. I think that's great. It's not, you know, like Battlefront or Call of Duty or some of these other games that these people that have been playing, like Casey said, for 20 hours, they have like these crazy upgraded weapons and just stuff that you just like, I'm quitting. This sucks, you know. But Overwatch is not like that. It's like, it's how good you are. And I think that's the way that competitive online games should be.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So the 4 after this are more story-driven ones, and we kind of cheated on number 4 here, where it's
no cheating.
It's like 2 games, but I think it's fine that we made it 1. We're going with Uncharted 4 / The Lost Legacy, number 4 on our top 10 best games we played this generation. What do you guys think about Uncharted 4?
I like your radio voice, Zach. You really like, you give it the like ballpark like announcer guy thing. Yeah.
Hosting duties.
Yeah. I thought this, like, if we're talking, I mean, it's a lot more than just graphics and visuals, but this is one of the best looking games I think we've ever seen, right? Like, I mean, the gameplay is incredible. The story is awesome. I'm a big Sully fan. I want to see like a Sully game someday. But no, I just like, it was kind of like one of those like mind blowing moments in a, you know, console generation when you're like, okay, they're really getting good with you know, maxing out the full potential of this thing, and yeah, it just was kind of, it was huge.
Yeah, it's crazy that Naughty Dog, I mean, with all the expectations around Uncharted 4, I mean, the 3 before this were very, very good games. Played the trilogy, the remastered trilogy on PS4. They're so good, and for them to come out, and I would say it might, I mean, Uncharted 2 is super, super good, but this might be the best out of the 4. With what they did story-wise. Even the multiplayer is super fun. They don't get enough credit for that. Naughty Dog doesn't just like throw in multiplayer because they want a game to last longer. They really work on multiplayer for these games and make them something worthy of playing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, totally agreed. Yeah, I think one common theme with this list is all the developers of these games have such attention to detail that it just makes the game that much more impressive. And you know, on top of that, it just feels really good, and in this case has a story that drives the whole thing. I haven't actually played this game, disclaimer.
The heck,
but yeah, I'm still working through the trilogy right now. But from what I've seen and as far as the visuals, they're just pretty mind-blowing and probably some of the best that you can find on the PS4. And yeah, I think Naughty Dog is definitely one of those world-class developers, and they just really know what they're doing, and they make great games.
Now remember, this is a collaborative list, so when we throw Uncharted 4 at number 4, we're like, Casey, trust us on this one. It's a top 4 game.
Oh no, I was more like, Casey, we don't value your opinion.
That's true.
So we're gonna cut you out, and we're just gonna put games we like.
Although Kyle, you suggested the Chex game, so.
Oh yeah, but
and compared that to Doom, so.
Yeah, I actually think it might be better than Doom.
Okay.
So I put your angry comments in the box below.
If you've played that, let us know. Give us
I need to look
us
up
a 5-star review.
For the next podcast, I will look up the Chex Blaster, maybe. I'll look it up, and I'll talk about it a little bit next time for those that want to.
Well, remember, we're doing the top 10 cereal games, so.
Okay, I'll save it for that.
Yeah. And then when I said what's at number 4 here, I also said The Lost Legacy. And the reason I think we're able to cheat on this one and put them both there is that The Lost Legacy was originally supposed to be just DLC for Uncharted 4, but Naughty Dog, being Naughty Dog, did what they do, and they went above and beyond and created a game that was worthy of being separate. It's basically the length of Uncharted 1. And this game, we talk about this game, like, looks even better than Uncharted 4. Like, the lighting when you're on the rooftops and the, like, neon lights are going looks insane in HDR, and really just on any TV. Naughty Dog outdid themselves, and super fun game. Gave it a little more of an open world aspect with, once you're about halfway through the game, it opens up and you kind of, again, search for collectibles and go to different parts of the map to complete objectives. So even when they're not sticking to the same formula, they're able to pivot a little bit and create something new and something fresh and something really, really fun and something really good, worthy of being number 4 on our top 10 list.
Get to play as the badass chicks.
You do. Yeah. Nadine and Chloe.
Loves it.
Yeah, and Kyle, you brought up you want to see a Sully spinoff. These were 2 unexpected characters to get a spinoff game, but they made it work and super fun. So
young Sully, it's gonna be dope.
There we go. That's Kyle's idea. So Naughty Dog, who is also listening to this with Guerrilla Games.
Yeah, they've been commenting in the chat, the live chat.
So we're just reaching out to all the devs here and telling them what to do.
They're like, nice podcast, guys. Keep it up.
The whole studio is actually watching live right now.
Yeah, so I doubt the next studio is watching this because it's Nintendo, and we hinted that there'd be some Switch games on here. Obviously, Nintendo.
They don't actually have they don't have internet at their company. Yeah. I heard, so.
And again, the fact that this game is going to come in at number 3 is a really, really big testament to how good games are this generation. Number 3, Super Mario Odyssey, only at number 3, and this game is so much fun. This game, I think the reason this game is so much fun, especially for like our age demo, is that it really brings up the nostalgic moments of playing Super Mario 64, where they took that same formula with like finding stars, but in Super Mario Odyssey you're finding moons, and they like labeled them the same exact way. Like when you found a star in Super Mario 64, where it's like hidden star in the sky, and this one will be like hidden moon in the sky, or like ground pound, like, you know what I mean? I can't even come up with a good example, but like warp zone. Yeah, and you get that great sound cue of when you discover one. And there's so many moons to discover in this game. This game I beat the story mode for this game, but there's so much more to do after the game. And you get a ton of value out of this game. It's Nintendo, it's Mario. And again, living up to expectations. Somehow they do it again and again. And this might be one of the best Marios of all time, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah. Yes. No, you go.
This game's so good. Okay. We just got to talk over each other about how good this game is.
Let's just talk. Let's say 1, 2, 3, and then we all talk about what we like about it, and then like just have it over each other. No, I'm just kidding. But Casey, you go first.
1, 2, 3, Mario.
So good, Mario. Yeah, for me, this game. Yeah, I think you hit a really good point as far as the game really kind of caters towards, I think, the people our age who played Mario 64 on the N64, because there were so many callbacks to that and the previous Mario games before that as well, and just so nostalgic, and had so many like amazing sequences in the game, like in New Donk City, how you kind of go into like 2D mode, and it has this like awesome music playing with all these 2D elements going on.
They made a city called New Donk City work somehow. Like, that is the stupidest city name I've ever heard. But
yeah, I think they had a missed opportunity to use Donk by Soulja Boy as the music in that level. She got a donk. 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 You know?
Only the criticism of this game.
Yeah, most places gave it 9.5, and they said should have had Donk by Soulja Boy as the New Donk City soundtrack. But yeah, no, all jokes aside, it really does bring back Super Mario 64. That was like the first game. Mario Kart was, but the first N64 game that I got was Super Mario 64, probably like a lot of kids. And it's really just like that game on steroids, you know? I mean, it introduces the Cappy mechanic and everything, but to me, that was like that was like an addition, you know, like a side course, because to me, it was just jumping back into the Mushroom Kingdom, and it felt like 64, how you control it. It was beautiful, you know. It was just like, it kind of was a awesome way to escape, you know, the adult life that we live now. And it's like jumping back into that world, you know. I mean, I love Nintendo, like I said on the other ones, but this was kind of like taking it to that level that's like only they can do. So
Kyle was not a day one Nintendo 64 getter, as we can tell based on Mario Kart was his first Nintendo 64 game.
It was bundled. It was bundled with. If we're talking about bundled games,
bundle.
I got
my very first video game.
What's very first video game in 96 or 97? 96.
Yeah, he's a little younger than us.
Yeah.
Still.
I'm 12.
12.
Casey's 12, so.
But real quick about Nintendo 64, when we talk about going back to Super Mario 64, I'm pretty sure, we might need to fact check this, but the Nintendo 64 released with only 2 games in North America when it came out. 2 games for the system when it came out. It was Super Mario 64 and Wave Race, I believe.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, I played that one.
Pretty crazy. I mean, this might be a spoiler alert, and I think people could probably already guess where
He's trying to rescue Peach in it. That's the spoiler alert.
But the Switch came out with like 3 games, right? Was it like 3 games when it came out? Besides like the indie games.
Yeah.
Like
probably.
Releases. Anyway, Super Mario Odyssey, if for some reason you haven't played it yet, this is a reason to buy a Nintendo Switch. It's that good.
Amen.
Yep.
Take it back. Take it back.
We're going to take it back now to a game that came out before Super Mario Odyssey with a very, very different tone from Super Mario Odyssey. I don't think we could have a more drastic shift in tone of where we're, and like, I guess, accessibility of a game. Because number 2 on our top 10 games we've played this generation is Bloodborne. And I'm going to let Kyle and Casey talk about this one. I've played this one and I enjoyed it a lot. But Kyle and Casey probably would have put this at number 1 if they had full say of the list. But yeah. I don't know. It would have been close, I think. But these guys love the game. Very hard game. Very awesome atmosphere. But Kyle, Casey, whoever wants to go first, give me your thoughts on Bloodborne. Kyle, how about you?
All right. So I'll start by saying is that co-op aspect of Destiny that I loved so much. This game kind of gave me the same feeling, only because Casey and I like played most of the game together and like platinumed it in the wee early hours of the morning.
Kyle's only platinum.
My only platinum. I'm kind of an ADD gamer. I switch games a lot. I'm like, I'm gonna platinum this, guys, and then they're all like, yeah, right, I bet.
Quality over
But
quantity.
anyway, this game, it's my introduction to the From Software Soulsborne games. I picked it up, and I picked it up based off of the reviews. I actually had never even like played Dark Souls or heard of Dark Souls, believe it or not. I picked this game up, and the first day I played it, I was like, I'm going to return this. And usually I'm just like, I don't feel like doing that stuff, going back to the store, going through all that headache. And I was like so pissed off at this game. I was like, I'm going to return. This makes no sense. The menus are clunky. It's weird. There's like no real story going on. I have no idea what's going on. And then I kind of just like stuck with it. And it really became like the most rewarding video game experience I've ever had. And man, I've like I platinumed it, and I've gone back, and I haven't done a lot of extra playthroughs, but man, I did what's required for the platinum trophy, but man, I need to like go back in this world again, because the design is incredible, the mood that it sets is awesome. Like, you can just tell there's a lot of love and passion that went into the design of this game, and all of those like initial concerns that I had with like it being so damn hard and so like stubborn and just vague. It's like a vague story, but that's what you grow to love about the series, and you love to, you know, playing Dark Souls later and all that stuff. You love that stuff about the From Software games. So I mean, I'm pumped about anything else they're coming out with. It really has been one of my favorite video game experiences, which is saying a lot. So
yeah, I totally agree. I think you really hit the nail on the head when you say it's one of the most rewarding gaming experiences. It is pretty difficult, and in that regard, I think the game is also pretty polarizing because, yeah, people either kind of like pick it up and kind of hate it right away because it's so weird and quirky, but like, and
yeah, like ringing, like for like me and you to play together, you have to like stand in the right spot, ring the right bell. It's like it's like things like that. But
yeah. We really struggled with that when we were trying to do it with all three of us together. We're like, we're out of bells. We don't have any more bells, guys.
Yeah. But all that stuff, like the fact that it doesn't tell you anything about it is like the mystique of it is so cool, and you know what I mean? Like it just it doesn't tell you at all what it's supposed to be, so you kind of
it doesn't hold
make
your
it
hand
your own,
at all. And I think the boss battles are like next level for any video game. I mean, when you're fighting a boss, whether it's by yourself or co-op, it really takes a lot of like learning to kind of recognize what kind of like attack patterns they're gonna do, and it's really hard to kind of like pull off. And by the time you got like the health bar down to like a quarter left, every single time your heart is just like kind of pounding with adrenaline. Cause,
oh my god.
Yeah, no other game really has like such high stakes, because even getting to the boss, you know, you kill enemies, and even like a little guy on the street can totally wreck you. So you really got to take your time with each enemy, and you're making your way through the level. And
making your way downtown.
Making your way downtown, and you're accumulating all these souls, and if you die, then you lose these. Actually, they're called blood echoes in this game. So you lose like the currency of the game if you happen to die. So the stakes are just so high, and
you can pick them up again though.
You can,
but it's not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, right, you can definitely go back and get them if you are able to. But yeah, just because it's such high stakes, that also, you know, inversely makes for such a rewarding and gratifying game experience when you're playing it and you actually, you know, get through the levels and beat the bosses. And and on top of that, just the style of the game is kind of insane. There's so much like cryptic, weird stuff going on. You know, it's kind of like goes back to like the Victorian, like medieval kind of style architecture mixed in with like all this weird celestial, like alien type stuff, and it's just like the weirdest, like, but just oozing with style. And no other game really has that visual style, and it really caters towards those people who love to just explore every little nook and cranny of a game, which I love to do. Like I'm kind of slow playing games because I like to look around every single corner, and these games, they reward that because there's always some sort of like cool item, you know, waiting for you. And overall amazing game. The gameplay feels awesome, and it really requires some skill, and not just, you know, luck or button mashing kind of thing. So yeah, awesome game overall.
Yeah, the progression feels like it feels like a real accomplishment. Like you're like, oh wow, like it's not like those games where it just feels like you're playing a movie and you're just kind of doing some gaming along the way. Like it feels like it. I mean, it has awesome visuals and not really too many cutscenes and stuff. But it's like when you get to a new world.
He said the name.
Oh yeah. Make sure you subscribe if you like the content. Nah. But anyway, yeah, no, it just, and any new level or new area that you get to, you're like, oh wow, like I'm in for it. I have no idea what's going to come up next. So
definitely, I think you guys described it in a great way. I think you described
Zach,
it.
We're gonna play it through with you one of these days. We're gonna really get back on that horse.
There we go. We'll get some new bells and we'll do that. It's funny when the way Kyle was describing it, it's like what you think about with this game is that it's super hard. Just trust me though, like keep playing the game and you'll learn to love it. And it is really, it's a hard game just to pick up and play, but I think it's a testament. Again, we keep coming back to it's a testament of how good the game is, but it's number 2 on our list. So it must be pretty damn good for us to put it that high on the list, even when it's as difficult as it is.
Yep.
We've hinted a lot about what number 1 could be, and I think people probably could have figured it out based on the fact it hasn't been anywhere else on the list. Number 1, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Woo! This is a system seller if there ever was one. I think so many people picked up a Switch purely to play this game.
People actually had more copies of Zelda than there were Switches sold at some point.
I think that says a lot about the game. And
it's a funny stat.
We're not just giving into the hive mind here and saying, like, everyone says it's the best game, so it must be the best game. It is the best game of this generation. They did something so different, I guess. I don't think people expected Nintendo to be able to do an open world game as well as they did here. They took all the elements that you love from past Zelda games. They took things from Ocarina of Time. They took things from Link to the Past. They took things from Twilight Princess. They took elements from all these things and combined them in a way and into an open world package in Breath of the Wild. That was something that was really never seen before. They had this element of getting weapons where the weapons get damaged and they break, and you need to keep finding new weapons, and you need better weapons to take down different types of enemies. And you're doing all these RPG elements where you're finding different things. You're leveling up different parts of your character. You're finding shrines. You're climbing atop viewpoints, like we said before with other games. And it combines all these elements, and it somehow just works. So there can be all these different things. And you want to be able to do them all. You want to travel across the desert. You want to run through the forest. You want to swim through the seas. They do it all here. That's pretty good, right, guys?
No, I'm just. It's just funny. I'm laughing.
It's true. It is. There's all these different worlds, though, and there's it's like the things you saw in all the other Zelda games before, but massively done here.
Yeah. Oh, that kind of jogged what I was gonna say, because it's. I was gonna say, like, in this age of games with the internet, back in the day we couldn't just look up a guide online. Like, you bought the Brady Games thing or whatever, but
Brady Games.
Shout out to Brady Games.
Prima guides.
Prima guides.
Still around.
That's where it's at.
But anyway, like, my point is that, like, this game is so massive and full of secrets that, like, even if you looked up a guide, it's like you don't even know what to look up. Like, you're gonna stumble upon this stuff organically as a player, 9 times out of 10, because it's just so big. I'm sure you could look up a full guide and sit there and play it, but I'm just saying, like, most of us aren't going to do that.
We actually fully talked about this subject before when we first started playing Breath of the Wild, when we would get to a shrine and we didn't want to look up guides of how to do it because, like, we wanted to do this puzzle solving on our own.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just think that to me is, like, the biggest asset of this game, is that you are just exploring this huge land of Hyrule, and then you just, like, find something. You're like, what is this? What's this guy on a horse? What's this little treasure chest? Like, there's just, I mean, that's a lot of Zelda games. It's a lot of games in general, but this one is just, like, talk about exploration. It's like, it's probably the best exploration game of all time. You're always finding something new and we were discussing attention to detail. Like, this probably is one of the best games with attention to detail ever made.
Yeah, I think Nintendo, they make a lot of careful but also a lot of bold kind of decisions, and taking this franchise into this open world, world was kind of one of those bold decisions that I think might have worried a lot of people when they heard that it was going to become an open world thing. But it was pulled off so well, and just all the underlying kind of, like, things that are going on in the game, from, like, the full on, like, physics engine that they built for it, where you can literally swing your fire sword in the grass and it'll catch the whole meadow on fire. And That's just a very basic example, but things like that, and
that's even fun though. That's how fun this game is.
Yeah, even that is fun. And I think Kyle was totally right when he says like it's probably the best exploration game ever made, because no other open world game has done the thing where you can literally climb on literally any surface in the game, and that truly opens it up to go anywhere you really want. And to me, that's what's most fun about this game, is just running around and exploring. I often don't go to the objectives or actively try to find something. I'll just like run around the game and you know, find some interesting like little area, and something catches my eye off in the distance, and that's where I'll head next. And I think it's so easy to kind of get lost in that world because of that aspect. And yeah, it's just like pure kind of like escapism, going into this world, and everything just controls and feels so good. And on top of that, it has the whole Zelda charm and kind of lore to it, which is awesome.
That nostalgia factor with Nintendo, we talked about it with Super Mario Odyssey. It's powerful, and Kyle brought up that great point of, and we come back to it, not using a guide as part of that nostalgia factor. Where I remember when I first started playing this game, I was like, okay, I got this health bar, I got this stamina bar, and I'm like running into the wintry cold area. And I was like, oh, my health keeps going down, like, but I want to get to that shrine that's up there. So my strategy was, well, I'll just keep eating these hot peppers, because I didn't know about, like, there's like warmer clothes that you can get eventually. So I'm just like, okay, hot peppers.
That's your strategy in real life too. Usually when you're cold, you usually just go in the fridge, get a couple of jalapenos.
Exactly.
The man doesn't own a hoodie. It's pretty crazy.
I live my life like Link now. So if you ever see a guy on the street just going, hiya, that's me. Yeah, I mean, it's super, super fun game. Don't want to use a guide, want to have all those nostalgia factors be in play. It's Nintendo, and somehow Nintendo, I think for like many, many console generations, could say put out the best game of a generation. And there's still some years to go in this one. We might need to update this list in the next few years. There's still more games coming out. Plenty of good games. So we'll see what happens with our top 10 list. But I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Nintendo comes out with another game that deserves to be at number 1 on this list. But for now,
yeah, can I just like add one little thing at the end of that?
Go for it.
Oh yeah. So you were talking nostalgia and stuff, and that stuff is huge with the Nintendo. But what I think is really important to like touch on is that you're not blinded. You might be a little bit blinded by past games like with Odyssey and that, but these games, wouldn't you say if this was the first time you played a Zelda game in your entire life, you had never heard of Zelda, you would be like, damn, this is an incredible game. Like it's not, what I'm saying is it's not completely based on nostalgia. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like they come with it every time, you know?
They're able to reinvent themselves in ways where even if you're a new player, if you're an old player, it's an awesome experience no matter what. And I think that's the best thing about Nintendo, and they keep doing it. So they'll probably put out another game this generation that ends up being number 1 on our list. But that's for the future. Right now, this is our top 10 list, and you just got to experience it. Do you disagree with it? Do you agree with it? Doesn't matter, because like we said earlier, this is the definitive list. This is 100% correct. And there's no convincing us otherwise, even though not all 3 of us have played all these games. We agreed on it.
It's usually like, please, like, chime in the comments with your opinion, but we're just like, we don't want that. Like, this is definitive. Doesn't matter what you guys think. Just kidding. It totally matters what you think.
It does matter what you guys think. So
you guys matter.
They do. And if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcast, on the Google Play Store, on Stitcher Radio, on Castbox. We're pretty much everywhere now that a podcast can be. And if you're listening to it on one of those services, please give us a 5-star review. It definitely helps with us getting up in the rankings and getting more listeners. And that's what we want, because we want to have debates about these lists, even though we say we don't want to. So please give us those reviews and subscribe.
Love you.
Love you. That's it.
That's going to be my new sign off every podcast. Love you. Love ya.
This has been Now Loading, a video game podcast. Cutscene out.